In this chapter, we shall go on a long journey across 1,000 years to read about philosophers and their attempts to understand the world they inhabited. Children, our first topic is cliffs of Sachi. The buildings that have survived from the past speak volumes about the craftsmanship of the Indians. One such example of an ancient building is the stupa. A stupa is a mound containing the relics like teeth, hair, bone, and ashes of Buddha or his followers, placed in a casket at the center of the stupa. Then a dome-like structure made of carved stone slabs covers it. A path known as Pradakshina path is led out around the stupa along which the devotee encircle it. One of the finest stupa built was the Sachi stupa in Madhya Pradesh during the reign of Ashoka. The Sachi stupa was enlarged twice in size under the Sangas. The beautifully crafted gateways called Torana and the railing were also added by Sangas. Another stupa at Bharat in central India was also built during the rule of Sangas. The chapter begins with the story of stupa at Sachi. Children, as you know, when Europeans came to India, they took away many things from India. Like that only, in 19th century, Europeans were very interested in the stupa at Sachi. The French sought Shah Jahan Begum's permission to take away the eastern gateway to be displayed in a museum of France to study and to do research on it. Even Englishmen also wanted to do the same, but both the French and the English were satisfied with plaster cast copy and the original remained at the state. Due to wise decision taken by the rulers. The ruler of Bhopal, Shah Jahan Begum, and her successor, Sultan Jahan Begum, provided money for the preservation of ancient site. Sir John Marshall, director of ASI, done the detailed study on Sachi Stupa. Sultan Jahan Begum funded the museum that was built there as well as the guest house where Sir John Marshall and his team lived and wrote the volume. Sultan Jahan Begum also funded the publication of volume. So, if the stupa complex has survived, it is due to wise decision taken by rulers and the good luck in escaping the eyes of railway contractors, builders, and those looking for find to carry away to the Museum of Europe. The background, sacrifices, and debates. If we talk about this topic, the mid-first millennium is often regarded as a turning point of world history. It is not only the Indian history, it is about world history. Millennium means complete time period of 1,000 years. This time period saw the emergence of many thinkers such as Zarathustra in Iran, Kongzi in China, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle in Greece, and Mahavira and Lord Gautam Buddha, and many others in India. These thinkers started questioning on the existing system. They tried to understand the mystery of existence and the relationship between human being and the cosmic order. This was a time when new cities and kingdoms developed. We can say this was the time period when the people wanted to know about the life after death. Some thinkers wanted to know why sacrifices should be performed, etc. Now, let's move toward the next topic, the sacrificial tradition. Now, the question arises, why the people used to perform sacrifices? People used to perform these sacrifices for their good health, peace for the family, for good crops, for sun. And some sacrifices were performed by kings like Ashwamedha, Rajasuya, Bajpaya. There were several pre-existing traditions of thought, religious belief and practice we know from Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is the oldest of all four Vedas. It was composed about 3500 years ago. It contains 1028 hymns which are divided into 10 parts. It is a collection of prayers offered to Agni, the fire god, in the warrior god, Varun, Surya and other gods by various families of poets and sages. Many hymns were chanted when sacrifices were performed, where people prayed for cattle, sons, good health and for long life, etc. Earlier, sacrifices were performed collectively. Later, some were performed by the heads of the households for good health, for good crops, and for their long life, etc. Elaborate sacrifices were performed by chiefs and kings who depends on Brahmins, priests to conduct the rituals such as Ashwamedha, Rajasuya. If we'll talk about Ashwamedha, it was performed by a powerful king to expand and establish his undisputed territory. In this, the king allowed a horse with his emblem to roam freely in the neighboring kingdoms. The king's men guarded the horse. If any other king stopped, he had to fight, and the victorious king annexed the defeated king's territory. Otherwise, the regions through which the horse passed came under the rule of the king who had performed this yag. Ideas contained in the Upanishads generated a variety of questions about life, especially meaning of life and possibility of life after death and rebirth. Lively discussions and debates took place in Kutagrahashala, a hut where traveling mendicants took shelter. Thinkers like Mahavira and Buddha questioned the authority of the Vedas. Children, our next topic is beyond worldly pleasure, the message of Mahavira. Vardhaman Mahavira is considered to be the founder of Jainism, although he was the 24th and the last Tirthankara or the teacher. But it was Mahavir who gave shape to the idols of Jainism. His teaching constitute the core of the religion. The first Tirthankara was Rishabdeva and the 23rd Tirthankara was Parshvanath. The followers of this religion are known as Jains. The term Jaina was used for Mahavira because he became the conqueror by knowing the truth or by attaining enlightenment. According to Jainism, entire world is animated, that is, even stones, rocks and water have life. People must follow very strictly the rules of ahimsa. People who wish to know the truth must leave their homes. Mahavira preached to live a simple life, begging for food. People should not acquire property. They should give up everything, including their clothes. He taught people to be absolutely honest. He asked them not to steal. People should not tell a lie. He also preached to observe celibacy, that is, brahmacharya. Mahavira did not accept Vedic sacrifices. He opposed all forms of religious rites and rituals. He did not believe in the caste system or discrimination between men and women. Mahavira also believed in karma and moksha like the Upanishadic thinkers. He said that a person's soul is reborn again and again due to her previous life's karma or actions. Moksha, that is freedom from the cycle of birth and rebirth, is the ultimate goal of a person's life. This goal or moksha can be achieved by following three ratnas or three jewels, that is, right knowledge, right belief, and right conduct or action. Lord Mahavira and his followers used Prakrit language so that even the ordinary people could easily understand the teachings. Now if we talk about spread of Jainism, Jainism spread to Kaling. In later centuries, Jainism penetrated Malwa, Gujarat and Rajasthan, and now these areas have a good number of Jainas, mainly engaged in trade and commerce. By this time, Jainism was divided into two sects, Digambaras and Shwetambaras. The Digambaras were strict followers of Mahavira and lived an austere life. They chose not to wear clothes. The Shwetambaras wore a white dress and covered their mouths with a piece of white cloth. Jainism spread many parts of India. Jaina scholars produce a wealth of literature in Prakrit, Sanskrit and Tamil languages.